The night was cold, and the wind howled through the empty streets of a small town nestled between rolling hills. Samuel pulled his tattered coat tighter around his body, his breath visible in the chilly air. He had been walking aimlessly for hours, his feet sore, his spirit weary. Life had not been kind to him, years of bad choices, regret, and lost faith had left him feeling like a shadow of the man he once was. He once believed in God's love, but time had chipped away at his faith. Every unanswered prayer, every hardship, had convinced him that he was alone. But that night, as he trudged through the darkness, he found himself drawn to an old chapel at the edge of town. Its wooden doors stood slightly ajar, a warm light flickering from within. Curious yet hesitant, Samuel stepped inside. The chapel was empty, save for an elderly priest kneeling in prayer. The scent of burning candles and aged wood filled the air. Something about the place felt different. Safe. The priest, Father Elias, looked up and smiled kindly. "Come in, my son. You look like you've been carrying a heavy burden." Samuel hesitated. No one had spoken to him with such warmth in years. "I don't belong here," he muttered, looking away. "Ah, but God thinks otherwise," Father Elias said, rising to his feet. "He has a way of guiding lost souls to where they need to be." Samuel scoffed. "If that's true, then why has he let me suffer for so long? Why has he abandoned me?" The priest didn't seem surprised by the bitterness in Samuel's voice. Instead, he motioned for him to sit on one of the wooden pews. "Perhaps it is not he who abandoned you, but you who turned away from him." Samuel remained silent, staring at the flickering candlelight. The words struck something deep within him, an ache he had buried for years. "Let me tell you a story," Father Elias continued, "of a shepherd who once lost a sheep." And so, in the quiet of that old chapel, as the wind howled outside, Samuel listened. For the first time in years, he truly listened. To be continued. Episode 2, The Shepherd's Call. Samuel sat in silence as Father Elias began his story. There was once a shepherd who had 100 sheep. He cared for them deeply, watching over them day and night. But one evening, as he counted his flock, he realized that one was missing. The shepherd could have stayed with the 99, but his heart ached for the lost one. So, he left them in the safety of the pasture and set out into the darkness to find his missing sheep. Samuel shifted uncomfortably. But why? He still had 99. Wouldn't it be easier to let one go? Father Elias smiled knowingly. "Because love does not abandon, my son." The shepherd knew that the lost sheep was afraid, alone, and in danger. He would not rest until it was safe in his arms again. A flicker of something stirred in Samuel's heart. He had spent years believing he was beyond saving, yet here was a story suggesting otherwise. The priest continued.